Hey everybody, this is Eric Worre and welcome to networkmarketingpro.com. I'm here in downtown Kiev, Ukraine, in the middle of this square. It's a beautiful autumn day and the leaves are falling and I wish you were here. It's beautiful seeing different parts of the world, and this is one of the most beautiful parts of the world. But what I want to do today, I want to talk to you. People have been asking me about tactics. Give us more tactics. Tell us exactly what to do. Tell us exactly what to say. And I've been working on one that I want to give you this week, and it's very specific of what I want you to talk about, or what I want to talk to you about after we have all these interviews and talking about all this mindset. Some of the things I want you to talk or I want to talk to you about is posture. And after posture, what to say to prospects, because this is something for each of you to get clear in your mind when it comes to prospects, and it's also important for everybody in your organization to get clear, because if you get this, you're going to be able to double and triple and quadruple your recruiting efforts. Now, if that has your interest, then pay attention, because I'm going to want you to watch this over and over and over so you get it solid in your mind. It's a 4-question process. 4-question process. Question number 1. If I give you this DVD, would you watch it? If I ask you to try my product, would you try it? If I invited you to a special invitation-only event, would you attend? If I sent you a link to a website, would you review it? If I gave you this magazine, would you read it? If I gave you this CD, would you listen to it? You understand? If I put you on the phone with the top leader in my company, would you listen to what they have to say? So the question number 1 is, if I, would you? We talked about this on previous shows, okay? So I'm going to use a DVD as an example because it's one of my favorites. So if I gave you this DVD, which implies that I might not give it to you, but if I gave you this DVD, would you watch it? And then be quiet, okay? They will almost certainly end up saying yes. They might ask more about it, and if they ask more about it, I'm going to say, look, all the information's on the DVD. If I gave it to you, it's important that, to me, if I gave it to you, would you watch it? And then be quiet. If they will say yes 99% of the time if you ask it that properly, okay? Question number 2. I still don't give it to them. Question number 2 is, when do you think you could see it for sure? So I've asked, will you watch the DVD? They say yes. Okay, great. When do you think you could see it for sure? Now understand, I don't care what their answer is, just so long as they give me a time. They could say, I'm really busy, I can't watch it for 2 weeks. They could say, I'll watch it tonight. They could say, I'll watch it 3 days from now. They could say, I'll watch it 6 months from today. I don't care what answer they give me, just so long as they give me a specific answer. And I don't give them the DVD unless they give me a specific answer. So they'll say typically something around the next 48 hours. So let's say they say, I'll watch it 2 days from now. Fantastic. So question number 3. If I called you 3 days from now, you'll have seen it for sure, right? If I called you right after whatever they said, you'll have seen it for sure, right? That's question number 3. And then be quiet and wait for it. And they'll say, yes, I will see it for sure. That's question number 3. So question number 1 is, if I gave this DVD to you, would you watch it? Question number 2, when do you think you could see it for sure? Question number 3 is, what? So if I call you after that, you'll have seen it for sure, right? And then question number 4 is, what's the best time and what's the best number for me to call? And write it down and say, okay, I've got it on my calendar. I will talk to you then. I got to go. Listen to me. And then you give the DVD, okay? After you've got the time and the number for you to call, now you're not chasing people. You're just being professional. Now you're not begging somebody to watch something. You're just being professional. You are sorting in the most professional way I know. If you do this 4-step process, I promise you, you're going to get results. Even with your products. If you say, look, I've got this product that's amazing. If I gave you a sample, Would you try it? They'll say yes. Eventually, you might have to banter a little bit. When do you think you could try it for sure? You get the answer. So if I called you after that time, you have tried it for sure by then, right? They'll say yes and say, okay, what's the best number and time for me to call? Okay, I gotta go. And you're done. You gotta go. You're out of here. Same thing's true with a CD. Same thing's true with a magazine. Same thing's true with anything. If I would you, when do you think you could do it for sure? If I called you after that, you'll have seen it for sure, right? Okay, what's the best number and time for me to call? I gotta go. Now, listen, if you'll do that over and over and over and practice that till it becomes totally natural to you, your results are going to be staggering. If you do that approach with a DVD, you'll get a 90% review rate. If you do it without, here's what most people do. Please watch my DVD. It's really exciting. You're going to get 5% of people watching it, not 90. You get 5%. So this is something that can increase the viewing and the actual review of any of your materials by 15 to 20 times. And from that, you're going to get better results. Okay? So this week, I want you to focus on this. Next week, I'm going to talk to you about how to follow up. What to do when you call somebody and find out if they've reviewed the materials and if they liked it, if they didn't, what's the next step? We'll talk about that. So this week, focus on the 4 things. If I, would you, when do you think you could do it for sure? So if I called you after that, you'll see it for sure, right? And what's the best number and time for me to call? Okay, I've got to go. I will talk to you then. So, ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention to this. If you get this and if you could pass it through your organization, your results will skyrocket. It's so much better than flying by the seat of your pants and playing it by ear. So, ladies and gentlemen, my wish for you is that you decide to become a network marketing professional, that you decide to go pro. It is a fact that we have a better way. Now let's go tell the world. And speaking of the world, from downtown Kiev, hope you have a great day and a great week, and why don't you pan around and show everybody what we're kind of seeing here. Bye-bye. Hey everybody, this is Eric Worre and welcome to NetworkMarketingPro.com. I'm here in front of the Black Sea. If you haven't seen it, it's absolutely beautiful. You got to check it out. Beautiful fall day, the sun is shining. Anyway, it's a beautiful part of the world here in the Ukraine. But last week, we went through this 5-day exercise of this process, this 4-step process of prospecting. If I would you, and when could you do it for sure? So if I called you after that, you've done it for sure, right? And then, okay, what's the best number and time for me to call? Really important. And a lot of people have asked, okay, I've done that. Now what do I do when I call them back? Here's what you do. There's one of 2 things that can happen when you call them back. You call them. First of all, one of 3 things, I guess. If they don't answer, then you leave a message that says, I'm calling you back as you instructed at this time and at this number. Please get back to me right away. Just leave it at that. Very simple. You're just being the professional one by following up. If you talk to them, once you get them on the phone, they've either watched the video or done whatever assignment that you've given them. Watched the video, tried the product, read the magazine, visited the link, whatever it is. Either they've done it or they haven't. So if they haven't done it, you get them on the phone and they say, you know, hey, look, I just didn't have the time to be able to get that done. Don't argue with them. Don't say, hey, you said you'd do it. All you say is, look, I understand. Life gets in the way sometimes. Just let me know when you can do it for sure, for sure. Let's just set up a time for sure so we don't waste your time and we don't waste mine. And then you go through the second, third, and fourth part of that process, which is getting the time that they're going to do the action, asking them that if you call them after that time, they'll have done it for sure, and then setting another time for you to be able to talk to them. That's it. If they haven't done it, you do that. If they have done it, then you just guide them to whatever the next step is appropriate. What I do, if it's a DVD, I just say, look, did it make sense to you? Yes, it did. Well, do you have any questions about what you saw? Usually they will. And then just guide them to the next action. You can either say, well, look, let me get you on the phone with somebody who can help answer a question. Or let me get you some of the product or service so you can sample the product or service. Or any number of things. Have them visit a link. Have them listen to a conference call. Invite them to a local event. Get together with them for coffee. Send them a link that will explain some other part of your company or product or service. Just take them to the next exposure. That's all that you do. So if they haven't done it, find out if they can do it for sure, and when, and set up the time to follow up. If they have done it, set up that next exposure and make sure that the time for that next exposure is very specific. We'll talk about the importance of exposure to exposure later on in this week. So hopefully that helps you when it comes to the follow-up. So ladies and gentlemen, my wish for you is that you decide to become a network marketing professional, that you decide to go pro. Here from the Black Sea, it's a fact that we have a better way. Now let's go tell the world. Everybody, sorry for the wind, sorry for the craziness, but take a look at this incredible view, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey everybody, this is Eric Worre and welcome to NetworkMarketingPro.com. I'm here in Odessa, Ukraine at a awesome fish restaurant, seafood restaurant. And after we're done here, we're going to head to the Opera House and we're going to see the ballet Swan Lake. So a lot of fun things happening, interesting things around the world. Today, I want to talk to you about a really important topic that relates to all this prospecting things that we've been talking about. How you can get a third-party tool in somebody's hand, and then what do you do to follow up after that. I was taught something probably 15 years ago that was one of the most important lessons that I ever learned when it came to building my business. There's a lot of those lessons, but this is one of them. And just let this sink in. The only reason to have an exposure with a prospect, the only reason to have a meeting, the only reason to create some sort of an action is to schedule the next one. Really understand what I just said. If you use events for an example, the only reason to have the event is to schedule the next event with the prospect. You don't need to worry about closing. You don't need to worry about hard sales. You don't need to worry about any of those things. You schedule your first event, they attend. Before they leave that event, you must schedule the next one. Now the next event might be a phone call. The next event might be them reviewing materials. The next event might be them talking to their spouse and then calling you the next day. The next event might be trying the product and then you guys talking by phone. The next event might be getting together for coffee and going over the compensation plan. The next event might be a three-way phone call with somebody else. But it's so important that you don't let the experience end without scheduling the next experience, no matter what it is. And then what do you do at that experience? You schedule the next one. What do you do at that after that one? Then you schedule the next one. If you just focus on that, they will enroll or they will find their way out of the process because it's just not for them. So many people end up chasing because they don't schedule the next event. They do an event with somebody. They invite somebody to a meeting. They come to the meeting. Afterwards, the person says, you know what, it's kind of interesting. You say, okay, well, thank you. Well, we'll be in touch. and they don't schedule the next event. And because of that, now they're calling and they're saying, what do we do next? It's too late. You have to schedule the event before you leave the first event. You have to schedule the next event. So let me give you a real world example. Let's say I came into contact with you, and I said, look, I have something that I'm really excited about. It might interest you, it might not, but all the information is on this DVD. If I give it to you, will you watch it? We go through the 4 steps, and I give you the DVD. Okay, and we schedule the day after tomorrow. I'm going to call you back, and at a specific time on your specific number, and we're going to talk about what happened. So I've scheduled the next event. Okay. Let's say that you watched the DVD. Now I call you back. Did you watch it? Did you not watch it? Yes, I watched it. I still have some questions, or I want to try the product. Okay, fine. If I got you some product, could you try that product? When do you think you could try that product? Would you try it? Yes. Will you try it for sure? You go through that process. And then I say, okay, I'm going to get you some product, and then 2 days from now, we're going to talk again. Okay, what's the best number and time for me to call? So I schedule the next event. Now that's done. And now that you've tried the product, and I call you again, or we talk again, and we schedule the next event, which might be, let's get together for coffee. So we get together for coffee, and then maybe I schedule the next event. Maybe I have a little in-home meeting, or there's a local meeting in the marketplace. I schedule that event. They attend that event. They're still interested, but they haven't signed up yet. Before they leave the meeting, I schedule maybe a 3-way phone call with my upline so they can hear another person's voice. Or I give them a link that they can look at for more information about whatever it is that they're interested in. And we just go event to event to event to event to event, and it's a never-ending cycle. So if you understand this, every time you have an exposure with a prospect, the only reason to do it is to schedule the next one. If you get that, you are so far ahead of the majority of people. It takes the average person about 5 years to understand this process. If you can understand it in a shorter period of time, you're ahead of all of them. So, ladies and gentlemen, my wish for you is that you decide to become a network marketing professional, that you decide to go pro. It is a fact that we have a better way. So now, what I'm going to do is schedule the next event, which is I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.